All right, let's try this again. It's the early afternoon. It's time to show up. I'm showing up. I'm glad you showed up. I appreciate every single one of you. Do the little YouTube dance, like, comment, subscribe, all that happy horse shit. I have 3 basic modes that I'm in at any particular point in time. And the first one is when everything is going fine and I'm getting shit done. And then the second one is that I have a problem, but I'm trying to solve it. I'm trying to fix it. And in that event, I play a lot of games. I spend a lot of time playing video games. And over the past 4 days, I have put, quick check on my Steam profile, 52 hours, 52.2 hours I've put into Ball Pit. And that's basically every waking moment. I mean, that's 13 hours a day. It's the 24th. That is 13 hours a day for 4 days that I've put into this game. And I'm getting kind of close to having all the achievements. We're at the grind section. I'll talk about this a little bit more because what I want to talk about, the thing that I'm working on in my game at the moment is the visual presentation. So let's take a look at Ball Pit and its visual representation. The first thing I want to look at is I want to look at the credits, because what even does independent game mean anymore? Ball Pit was nominated for Best Indie Game of the Year, Best Indie Game of the Year. And at first, when you look at the credits, you know, once the logo comes up, which, why do you put the logo up? You just had the logo up. Why is there a logo at the beginning of the credits? But hey, director, designer, programmer, sound designer, Kenny Sun, that's me. That's what I'm doing. But I'm also the artist. And he had a low poly pixel artist and a concept artist and a 3D artist and a technical artist and a pixel artist. He also had a composer. I'm going to be the composer too. And I'm also like all of these artists. There's a community manager. And then there's key art and logo. That's 6 artists and 2 pixel fonts by different people. But then you get to his publisher, Devolver Digital. Now, first of all, I want to be clear on this. This right here, okay, that's 9 people, 11 if you count the pixel fonts. Okay, that's less than a dozen people. That's clear, that's independent. And then you get to Devolver Digital. You get to the publisher, and there's 50 of them. There's exactly 50. You can see here there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, wow, 26. No, it's 80. It's exactly 80. Why did I think it was exactly 50? Anyway, it's a lot of fucking people. Then you got all the PR. I mean, look at this. This is over 20 people. 3, 5, 7, 10, 13, 15, 19, 21, 23 people. That's 23 people. Console development, 22nd Century Toys. Here's a whole bunch of people. Localization, oh my God. Look at all of these people involved in, I mean, obviously, you need a couple of people for each language. But it's like, you've got like 20 people there, and then you've got another 3 people here, and then you've got QA, you've got all of these people. What even does indie game mean when this is an indie game? It's a small army of people. Look at this, and it's got FMod Studio in it, and then you've got special thanks, and then you've got play testers, and it... what does indie mean anymore? Does it mean anything? Like anything at all? Because that's a small army of people. That's like 300 and some odd people who worked on this game. If you can have 300 people working on a game and it's an indie, what does indie mean now? I don't know. It just kind of feels like, and I've constantly bellyached about how much time and energy and effort the art takes. So I'm not in any way throwing shade at Kenny for having a half dozen artists. I do kind of sit here and go, how'd you make sure you had a consistent style among all those artists? How'd you do that? And I think the answer is he didn't. He just had them all do like different things that didn't need to have a consistent style. The next thing I want to look at is I want to look at the settings. The reason I want to look at the settings is you got your general settings right here. And you've got Twitch extension, button mappings, the language, obviously, the build version, move aim cursor with player movement. You've got all of these various things. Allow slower game speed. Allow slower game speed. I like that. I'm gonna, yeah. Disable level up stats screen, disable damage numbers, manually activate level up screen. What? No. Controller vibration, I've got turned off. Screen shake is still on. Video, obviously, you got all of the typical stuff right here. I've got quality preset, low, custom, high. I'll set it on high, of course. You got everything turned on. You got all of this stuff. Visible player hitbox. Ooh, that's a good idea. Disable swirling background. So there's a bunch of stuff in here, okay? But it's all your typical stuff. The thing I really want to look at, though, is the audio. Because you remember I was doing the audio stuff for my game on Friday. And I have 4 different channels for audio. I got one for voice, I got one for sound effects, I got one for music, and I got one for the user interface sound effects. Now I want you to take a look at this. I was sitting here going, all right, cool. He's got the UI sound effects. He's also got that. Disable enemy chanting. I don't like that either. Mute audio and background. It's bullshit. Music volume, overall sound effects volume, UI sound effects, the special ball sound effects, the baby ball sound effects, the boss sound effects, enemy vocalization, other enemy sound effects, pickup sound effects, shooting sound effects, miscellaneous player sound effects, harvest, base management. I think this is overkill. I think this is too much. I don't think you need. I don't think you need 13 different volume levels for your game. It's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing if you have this. But I think that's overkill. I think this is too much. I think 4 is about right. And it's actually going to end up being 2 because I don't have any voice sound effects, so that's probably not even going to be on the settings dialogue. But yeah, I wanted to mention that. Then you've got a save slots thing. If you look at the menu that I did for my main menu, I've got play, upgrade, settings, and quit. I don't have a credits link. Maybe I should have a credits link, but really, like right now, the credits link is just like me. I did everything. I did all the stuff. Like all of the stuff is me, except for the graphics that came from Pioneer Valley Games. That's the only thing that would be in there. So I don't really see the need to have a credits list. I think my credits list is going to be small enough that I could just like put it in the settings. Is I think that's a good place to put it, is to have a tab for the credits, so you can look at the credits and see the credits, but you don't have to sit and watch a crawl. Like, I understand that this credits list feels like you're watching a movie. It feels like a real game. It feels like you're a real game developer now. You got credits in your game. I understand that a lot of people are bound up in that. I'm too old for that shit. I don't fucking care. My credits are gonna be like 3 or 4 people at most. Well, I mean, if you credit playtesters, then you'd have a lot more, I guess. But I'm probably going to playtest as a community thing, where I just say, hey, here, try the playtest version. Hold on, I got it. Yay! Remember to turn the microphone on. Now you know why this is take 2. Anyway, the save slots. This is something that I've wrestled with. We have multiple save slots. I keep starting new saves, and in fact, I'm going to do that in a minute here to talk about the gameplay and the UI. Because here's the thing. When you start a new game, one of the things that I have noticed in Ball Pit, there's a Discord link down here in the corner. I'm not in the Discord. I don't want to join a game's Discord. I don't like the little clicky thing here in the corner. That should be in the settings. There should be a link to the Discord. I don't like putting the Discord button like there. Also, it kind of looks like Cube from Puella Madoka Magica. Madoka Magica. It looks like the little nasty thing from Madoka Magica, and I don't like it, and I don't want it on my screen staring at me. You can't even see it. I'm gonna have to move. See, look here. Here's a little Discord thingy right there. So yeah, I don't like having that there. I mean, look at it. It looks like Cube. I don't like it. I don't want Cube staring at me from the main menu. So the good news is that once you actually jump into the game, it doesn't do that. But I'm going to go into save slots, and so we can talk about some stuff, I'm going to create a new save. Okay? And the reason I wanted to sort of go over the credits and say, look at the small army of fucking people who worked on this. What even does indie mean anymore? There's this animated 3D movie that starts out the game. And it's a very quick, simple, and easy story. Balbalon has fallen, a pit is all that remains, and here's your starting area. Now treasure seekers flock to explore the depths. That's 3 sentences. Down goes the elevator. All of this tells you everything you need to know. There's a story. I'm not even gonna try to play this. I'm just gonna sit here and let my character die eventually. So the thing is that you look over here. Let me get that out of the way. Yeah, people told me that this was Vampire Survivors crossed with pinball. It's not Vampire Survivors crossed with pinball. This is Space Invaders. This is Breakout. And because you can move in 2 dimensions, There's an element of Atari's Centipede. So that's really, it's just the description of it doesn't do it justice. It's a combination of existing mechanics from existing games, which is like exactly how most games are made. So when you level up, it shows you your stats, okay? This is an interface thing. Here comes your level up screen, and you can look at your detailed stats. Hold on. You can look at your detailed stats, and it tells you what went up with your level up and what difference that makes to your stats and what all of the base stats are and all of the derived stats are. And it's got all of this information here. You've also got the ability to hit the left trigger and open up the encyclopedia. And you can see here, I have found absolutely nothing except the one ball that I'm already using. Passives, I've found nothing. Okay? Monsters, I've only seen these two. That's it. And here are the statistics. I've only been playing for 45 seconds and killed 20 enemies. I'm not even trying. Now, when I go to continue, it will let me choose an upgrade from this little list. This is the next thing I need to build for my game, is the upgrade screen. I need to have a way that you level up and a way that you upgrade. And you can see here that if I hit the left trigger, again, the encyclopedia comes up. And if I hit the right trigger, I get details, which is where I can look at what's already in my inventory. I can move around within this little 8-slot inventory, 4 balls and 4 passives. And you can see here that I can select either one of these 2 balls, or I can select this passive, the Emerald Hilted Dagger. We will revisit these fucking daggers in a moment. And then we've got the reroll question, and I can press the Y button to reroll, except I don't have the money. It costs gold coins 5, and I've got gold coins 0. You can see that up here. Gold coins 0, gold coins 5. So if I try to reroll, you don't have enough resources to do this. So I can either pick this new ball. I like the way it does the upgrades because it shows you what your inventory is going to look like if you take that upgrade. When I hover over the earth ball, the earthquake ball, it shows me a level 1 earthquake ball in my inventory. When I hover over the bleed ball upgrade, it shows me a level 2 bleed ball in my inventory. And if I hover over the dagger, it shows me a level 1 dagger in my inventory. So it shows me what my inventory is now and what it's going to look like after I pick an upgrade. So let's go ahead and pick an upgrade to the bleed ball. Now I'm just going to sit here and die. It's not obvious right now, but right here over in the this little area here, this experience bar, is different for every single character. And this little life display, it shows you how much life you have remaining, 35 in my case, and how much you have total, 60. This little graphic around these 2 status bars, because that's all they are, status bars. This little graphic around them is different for every single character you unlock. And I really, really like that. Similarly, over here you have a progress meter, and that progress meter is different for every single level. Every level that you go into, this progress meter has a different look and feel leading up to the boss. It has a representation of what kind of level you're in at the bottom and what kind of boss you're going to face at the top. And then here you've got these 2 mini bosses that are identified with a little bang, a little exclamation point. and you've got this yellow status bar that creeps up until you get to the mini boss, and then the next mini boss, and then to the boss. So it tracks your progress, okay? Now, I don't need this because I've got a timer. I've got a timer, and that timer is going to be displayed somewhere. I don't know exactly where, but it is going to be displayed somewhere. And up here you have your speed indicators, and you can move back and forth. I'm going to turn off auto fire just to make things easier, just to make it easier for me to die. And you can use the right bumper button to speed things up. Let's upgrade again. And you can use the right button to slow things down. Notice the arrows go much slower when you do that. That's 1/4 speed. Here's 1/2 speed. Full speed. Double speed, I think. And quad speed, I think. There we go, I'm dead. So, that interface has most of the stuff in it that I need to have. It has the inventory, it has the gold display, which in my case would be the panties display, although I'm also using the panties as experience. I think I'm going to award gold at the end of the level, or currency at the end of the level, rather, based on what level you are. So, I think maybe I just use panties as currency. That's not a terrible idea. That's what I did in the previous game, in the clicker game that never got released and might get released at this point. I've got a better understanding of how much work that is, and looking at how much work the current game is, I'm like, maybe the amount of work the clicker game is wasn't really that bad. But yeah, so you got all this done, and now you return to base. Now it drops you straight into the main gameplay loop of exploring the dungeon, and then you return to base, and it immediately goes, hey, guess what? Surprise resource management. Welcome to New Balbalon, your home base. I love calling it Balbalon. That's funny. Okay, that's probably just some dumb joke somebody made and they ran with it. And that's my entire fucking game, is a dumb joke that somebody made and I ran with it. But here's what happened. I did a basic clicker game thing, okay? And I had this little clicker game engine, and I was like, look, I have this little clicker game. It's cool. You click on the thing in the middle of the screen, and the health bar goes down, and then it recycles, and the health bar gets bigger, and it cycles over to a different character. And when I was developing this, I was just using a little colored rectangle for the thing that you click on. And I went, well, I can't do that. I got to grab something out of my images directory. So I opened up my images directory, and I just grabbed something near the top of the first page of shit after the folders. I just grabbed something, and as luck would have it, I grabbed animechick2.png. So you were clicking on an anime girl. And somebody pointed out because of the little hand cursor that your mouse turned into when you moused over the girl, it's like you're groping her. Okay, you should make it look like a hand. You should make the hand do a little groping movement when you click. Yeah, okay, whatever. Yeah, sure, that's fine. And then I said the next thing that I need to do is when the health bar goes to 0, she needs to drop some kind of treasure. And somebody said, you should make her drop her panties. Yeah, sure, whatever, no problem. So I drew a quick little picture of some panties. and I made her drop panties. And now you're groping the anime girl until she drops her panties. And at the time, I was watching this anime called I don't remember what it was called. It ends in ER. It's about a world controlled by numbers, which is a weird fucking concept. But at the end of every episode, the protagonist always says, next week is going to be some perverted shit. And then one of the women from the cast goes, no, it's not, and says what the episode is actually going to be about. And as I was watching Plunderer, that's the name of it, Plunderer. And as I was watching this, I'm working on this game and I'm watching this anime, and at the end of one episode, the protagonist says, next week is going to be a groping festival. And that became the name of the game. Groping Festival was the name of the game. It's probably not going to stay that. But I'm probably never going to release the clicker game anyway. But yeah, it was just a joke that got out of hand. I put an anime girl in there, and they're like, "Ha! You're clicking it. You should make a hand." Yeah, sure, whatever. Yeah, what the hell? You know, it's a cute little fun joke thing. Ha! You should make her drop her panties. Yeah, sure, whatever. It's a cute joke thing, and suddenly I have a game about grope the anime girl until she drops her panties. I didn't want to make a game about grope the anime girl until she drops her panties. It wasn't a thing I set out to do. But that's what I ended up doing. I don't know, it's all arbitrary anyway. I mean, it's like the thing that you click on in the middle of the screen, that could be anything. The thing that gets dropped when you get the health bar down to 0, that could be anything. The custom cursor that you use to click on the thing in the middle of the screen, that could be anything. It could be a monster and a sword and some gold coins. It could be a girl and a hand and some panties. There's no difference. It's replaceable. The algebra of it is the same. And that's one of the key elements of game design, is recognizing that this is all replaceable. This is all something that you could you put a different graphic on it and you use a different name and suddenly your game is a different thing. It's that simple. It's that easy. And you build this theme and you run the theme through your game, and you can easily replace it with a different theme and a different story. It's very simple. Anyway, the resource management shit. Welcome to your home base. Let's plant some wheat to get started. Okay, you don't plant wheat in Vampire Survivors, or in a pinball game, or for that matter in Space Invaders Breakout or Centipede. But in this game, you have to. You have to plant some wheat, you have to plant a forest, and you have to send someone out to harvest. So you move them over, and you point them at the appropriate area, and you shoot them at the resource tiles, and they go collect stuff. And you need wheat and wood and stone and gold to build shit. And we got all of this locked shit. And we got all of this locked shit. And we got all of this stuff over here. So there's like 4, 8, 12, 13. There's 16 buildings in economy, and there's 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24, 28, 32, 36, 40, 45 in warfare. And then in housing, you've got, hey, surprise, there's 4, 8, 12, 15. Your warrior doesn't get a house. But that's another interesting thing about this is when you go into play, you can select any of these characters. And when you select a character, you know, you select that character, you can look at their stats in more detail, which you should. And you can play the Boneyard, and here's your one character. It shows you whether the character has completed it. And really, we can jump into my old save. If I abandon this and jump into the save slots, we'll go ahead and delete that. Yeah. If I open up my 50-hour save, if I open up this save, you can see that I've gathered a buttload of resources. And if you look in the expand menu, I've bought all of the land. Rearrange, I've got all of the buildings. Under build, I've unlocked everything. There's no more buildings to build from. Once you build a building once from Warfare, you're done. Same with housing. Once you build it once, you're done. So that's like 55 houses that you just build. And then under economy, you got all of this shit that you can build over and over again. And then all the way at the bottom, they don't actually tell you this, but all the way at the bottom, there's stuff that you can only build once. It's just so you've got the 6 resources here, which are like your basic wheat, wood, and stone, and then your advanced wheat, wood, and stone. And then you've got a building for wheat, and a building for wood, and a building for stone. And here's a building for somebody to harvest out of your wheat, wood, and stone areas. And here's a gold mine for gold. So those are your 4 different resources: gold, wheat, wood, and stone. And then you have your harvest ability, which is just, this is very much like pinball. You aim at the area and you hit the button, and all of your characters run around the screen and try to collect resources, which is kind of cool and kind of interesting. And this is like a whole separate game with a whole separate series of things involved in it. And I'm looking at this going, my upgrade system should be much more interesting than just a menu that you pick stuff from and you go, I want to upgrade this. There should be something more interesting, but I don't want to do a city management thing. But if you go into play, you can see I've got all of the different people unlocked, and it recommends 2 characters. Originally just 1, but then it goes on to recommend 2. It recommends 1 with, no, now it's recommending 3. But it gives you a bonus to gold if you use this character. So if I just grab a character, you can see down here that it lists I've completed all 8 of the different levels. And if I go on, if I select that and I move on and continue, here's another thing. There's a building you can build that allows you to run 2 characters at the same time through a level. That's really cool. That's a neat, cool idea, and you don't unlock it until later in the game. It's just suddenly later in the game, the entire concept changes. I really like the way that they do that. So when we jump into this, you can see that all the different levels it shows you which characters have completed this level and which characters haven't. And you can run it in normal, fast, or fast plus speeds. Now, running it in normal speed, you can see that I've completed this level with everybody except this last person, the Radical. I haven't completed this level using the Radical, which is a pain in the butt anyway. And it highlights the two characters that you're using, and it has that little green check mark. This interface is excellent. It tells you exactly what you need to know at a glance, and that's like, it's so simple. And then it's got like your leaderboards, and you've got the normal and the fast plus. You've got multiple speeds, and it tells you all of the information that you need, and it's very easy to go through these. And you can see here on NG Plus that I've got the Boneyard. I haven't completed with anybody in this. But it opens up this whole new thing, and it just kind of transforms layer by layer. And I intend to do that sort of thing with my game, but first and foremost, before I have anything like this, what I need more than anything else is I need that initial play experience, that one introductory level, and that one introductory character that I could jump into, what the initial experience would be. And of course, once you're heavily upgraded, you can do all kinds of shit, like I'm gonna turn on autofire again. Obviously, this is very different than when you first start the game. But you can see here that everything is right on the screen. Everything that you need to know, it's right here. It's very, very well done. It's very clean. It's very well established, and it works out very well. And I need to design an interface like this for my game. This time thing is excellent. I don't have an easy method to deal with time in my game, and I've been thinking about maybe installing one. And up front is the time that you need to do that. But yeah. You can just modify the delta. I think that's really all you need to do. If you want your game to run at half speed, all you have to do is divide your delta in half. That would be different if I were using the physics engine. That would be very different. But because I'm not using the physics engine, because everything that I'm doing is just disconnected from that whole concept, I could just divide the delta. I'm gonna have to experiment with this. Yeah, but anyway, this is so excellently done. It really is. It's so easy to check the encyclopedia. And you can see here, I've completed the encyclopedia with the exception of one item. one. Just this one is the only thing that I need. And it's these daggers. I need these daggers. I need all 4 of these daggers. There are daggers pointing in all 4 directions. And I need to collect all 4 of them. I need to max out their levels. And then I need to collect a fusion reactor to combine all of them and evolve them into this one item that I haven't evolved yet. That's really annoying. And there's 2 achievements hanging on that. There's an achievement for making the little cross thingy, whatever it's called, and there's an achievement for completing the encyclopedia, which I will get when I do that. And other than that, I'm only missing the 6 achievements for complete every level with this character. And let me abandon this run. Completing every level with every character is just a matter of time. And if you look at the levels, you can see that the Boneyard is completed with everybody. It's these last 4 for most of it. The last 4 on the Liminal Desert. On the Fungal Forest, it's just the last 3. Gory Grasslands, it's the last 3 again. Smoldering Depths, last 4. Heavenly Gates, I've just got the 1, the Physicist. I haven't completed it with the Physicist, that's it. But then in the Vast Void, we got these 2, the Shield Bearer and the Spendthrift on the Vast Void. So these last 4 and these 2 are the only ones that I need to jump in and complete every level with. And that's actually the only level I haven't completed with those 2. So I'm down to that. I'm down to 4 characters on the last level and on most of the previous levels. I've just got 1 there. I got 4 there and 4 there. The Physicist is not fun to use. I don't like him so much, but the primary thing I'm looking at here is the interface. And the interface is simple, but it's just so well designed. The artwork for it it's not that big a deal. But the design of it is excellent. It's so easy to go, okay, you're selecting your character, I'm going to pick that one, and I can look at all of the details I need to look at, and I can look at the leaderboards, and I can see like what this particular character has done, fastest time paired, fastest time solo, fastest time solo and paired in New Game Plus. I've never done it with either of those. But there's all of the information that you need to look at here. And it's intuitive, it's easy to figure out. You don't need a tutorial, you don't need anybody to tell you how this works. It's just clear from looking at it what everything does. Just like bring a second character. When this comes up, it's obvious how to use it. And if you go, no, I can just continue, then it all just fits together. It's so well designed. And again, there's a small army of people that worked on this. So of course it's well designed. But let's bail out of that. The visual design of your interface is a huge part of what makes your game what it is. So I need to concern myself with that, and that's the major thing that I'm concerning myself with at this point in my game's development is how do I want the interface to look? I've got these menus together, just still don't have them working, because I'm looking at them going, these look like shit. I really need to just get them working because swapping out the appearance is trivial. But the code behind it that makes it work, it's going to be the same code no matter what. I mean, you might have a fancy button on top of it, but it's still going to be wired up to the same code. So I really need to work on that, and I intend to do that over the course of the week. I don't know what I'm going to do on Wednesday. Notes, intervals, and scales isn't going well. I think maybe I need to abandon that until I can, develop an actual script for it. But going over this game, going over any game, in fact, is a great way to get a fair look at what interfaces look like and what you think of interfaces. Like if we go back to Vampire Survivors, the OG in this space, what we end up with is it's starting up. It's taking forever for some reason. Enjoy this view of Huangle. There we go. Loading DLC. All of the DLC, of course. It'll be loud, in all likelihood. Okay, it's not that loud. But you see right here, you've got press to start, and you've got this image in the background. Vampire Survivors has a really shitty interface that doesn't make a whole lot of sense. It's just sloppy and messed up. And that's actually not terrible because it sets your expectation for the game to be kind of sloppy and janky. And you can see here, it's just buttons. There's buttons everywhere. You just gotta click on the buttons. And the icons aren't really explained. There's no tooltip for this. There's nothing in here to tell you what these things are. You just kind of guess what the icon is. And that works fairly well for Vampire Survivors because it's kind of janky. And going through it like this is it really sets the expectations that when you go start, it's going to give you just this big bunch of shit and go, hey, here's all of this stuff. I haven't unlocked all of the characters for the Castlevania upgrade. The Ode to Castlevania thing has just not been all that useful to me. It hasn't been that interesting. I haven't enjoyed it. Look at all of these levels. There are so many levels. This is not the way that I want my interface to look or work. It's just kind of, and it sets expectations. It is fairly representative of the kind of game that you're playing. But I'd like to make a better game than this. So I'd like to have a better interface than that. And I don't want to throw too much shade at Vampire Survivors because it doesn't need to have a great interface, but man, you look at Ball Pit and it really does have a great interface. It's very well designed, it's very well done, and I think a lot of people get bound up in the fact that, oh, it's a good game. Being a good game is just the beginning. It has to be there. You could have the greatest interface in the world, and if your game sucks, nobody's going to want to play it. So you have to have a good game to start out with. But all of the stuff around that is important, and it matters, and you have to worry about that. Anyway, that's all I have to say about that. Okay, bye.